I don't know like much about it.
Did you hear
I did.
that?
Are we gonna like get in with some eerie laughs?
Yeah, I've got some. I've got some. Just wait. I don't know. That's okay. I'm flipping back. All right. Good morning, Facebook. You only see me right now, but I got Jessica on with me here. I'm going to flip over to her. We're talking about her brand new cookbook called Some Good Sweet Treats. So we're super excited. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thanks so much for having me, Drew.
It's my pleasure. I think we got a little bit of delay, but there you go. Now our audience can see you. I'm a bit surprised that it should be like side by side, you know.
Yeah,
But
we'll
anyways,
work with it.
we'll roll with it. All right,
hmm
so tell us about who you are and what you got going on. Give us like the 3 minute elevator pitch. Who you are, what you do.
All right. Well, I'm a holistic consultant, nutritional consultant, and I graduated from the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. So they're a Canadian national school. And I've also graduated from the Culinary Academy of Culinary Nutrition based out of Toronto. So from there, I really just started to create recipes for health. I got into holistic nutrition because of my own health concerns and really just became passionate about it. And my interest really went the culinary route, so creating recipes for health, making sure there are healthy recipes in regards to allergen free, specific for certain health conditions, that type of thing. And I had quite a collection of recipes and decided to get those published in a cookbook. And my latest today is the Some Good Sweet Treats, which we'll talk about today, and I'm very excited about. Really good for the holidays and all that good stuff. Yeah, so yeah, it just came from a passion of mine and a personal health concern, and I've just kind of been in the industry ever since, and since 2014, and just been working in the industry. Work at a health food store now in Moncton, New Brunswick. So the store is called Sequoia Trinity. So I get to help lots of people there, and yeah, just help them with their nutritional needs, any guidance that they need, and that type of thing.
Awesome. I I want to play some Hall. Are you a Halloween fan?
Sort of. I don't like being scared, but it's an exciting time, I guess.
Okay, this is for our Halloween fans out there. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to have some fun with this because I enjoy Halloween and we only get a short time to prepare for it. So pumpkin season kind of just passed, but we also have a Christmas pumpkin season. So for our
Mhm.
pumpkin lovers out there, can you tell us maybe some details or some information about pumpkin stuff?
Yeah, of course. So pumpkin, yeah, it is in season right now, along with all the warming spices. So they usually get paired up together, especially in your baked sweet treats and all that good stuff. Yeah, and pumpkin is a really great source of fiber. It's a great source of antioxidants and your vitamin A and C. And I've actually included a few nice pumpkin recipes in my cookbook. So there's a pumpkin sweet bread in there, and there's also an oatmeal pumpkin spice cookie. So they're really delicious. They include all the warming spices, so your cinnamon, your nutmeg, your ginger. So really great for this time of year, and a great way to make use of your pumpkin that's in season right now. Yeah, so I definitely recommend eating seasonally. It's when you're going to be able to get the most nutrients out of your food, and especially when you're buying local as well. So you can definitely check out the oatmeal pumpkin spice cookies that I think Drew, you recently posted those.
I did.
Yeah, yeah, they're quite delicious. They're fiber rich and a lot of nourishing spices, warming spices, a lot of good nutrients for the immune system as well. And I also use different types of sweeteners. So it's all your natural sweeteners. There's no refined foods in the cookies or the cookbook. Yeah, so lots of good stuff there. I actually use a coconut sugar in the oatmeal pumpkin spice cookies, and that sugar is going to be a little less sweet, or not sweet, not as, it's not going to be refined, and it's not going to have an effect on your blood sugar level like the white refined sugar. So it's a really wholesome, whole food, gluten-free and dairy-free cookie recipe. Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. We have a few people in here with us. Jen,
Yeah.
Jen's in here with us. I saw Jason was in here, and then I can't really. Facebook has hidden our ability to see people for privacy
Oh,
reasons.
interesting.
I know, right?
Fun.
So if you guys have any questions for um, Jessica, let us know. Let her know, and you can also ask later on, like if you're watching the replay. Let us know you're watching the replay, and Jessica can come back and answer for you.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Jen liked my sound effects.
Ah, awesome. Tis the season.
Okay, so tell us what it's like to cook. I think a lot of people struggle with
Hmm.
changing their delicious treats into things that are a bit healthier. Maybe we
Hmm.
could talk about. You want to talk about sugar?
Yeah, definitely. So sugar is definitely something that consumes a lot of baked goodies and sweet treats. A lot of times you'll notice that they're using white refined sugars, which lacks any nutrition whatsoever. So in my cookbook, I use a lot of sweeteners that are from nature. So your honey, your maple syrup. The coconut sugar is a really good one because it's low on the glycemic index, so it doesn't have that influx on your blood sugar levels. It is a little higher than like stevia and that type of thing, but much lower than your refined white sugar. So it makes it a little easier for people who are trying to cut out sugar but still want that delicious sweetness. Yeah, so that one I use, and the coconut sugar can be used one for one. So if there's any recipe that you're looking to make and you want to swap out a white refined sugar, you can easily do that by using coconut sugar.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, and if you're using like liquid sweeteners, a maple syrup or a honey would work really well in replace of that.
yeah. So the sugars is a tough one. Like I struggle with it also because like if you, I would rather use maple syrup or honey personally.
Yep.
We also use stevia
Hmm.
also, but I struggle with that one too, with the because there's so many like the sugars. There's so many different ones. I don't know how much you know about it, Jessica, but like you can get. I know there's like palm sugar, then there's
Hmm.
cane sugar, then there's raw cane sugar, and then there's
Hmm.
coconut sugar. Like
Hmm.
I always plan on doing a bit more research when I'm going down the aisle looking for a sugar.
Yeah.
But do you? I don't know how much. Do you know the details? Like, how do we know if we should grab a coconut sugar or a cane sugar or if
Hmm.
it's white? I think they have white cane sugar and brown cane sugar. Like, do you know the difference?
Yeah, so you have your white refined sugar. So that one's going to be stripped of any nutrients. It's going to be highly processed. It's not one that you'll often find in the natural health section of a grocery store. And I highly recommend staying away from that one. And then you have your cane sugar, which is your white sugar, but it's not as processed. And it's not bleached or anything. The nutrients haven't removed. It's just kind of taken from like the actual cane sugar plant. The brown sugar with that one, you have your molasses with that. So molasses often comes from a cane sugar, but when you're making or processing your sugars, with the brown sugar, the molasses isn't removed, which is why it gives it that brown color. Then your coconut sugar would actually come from, or your palm sugar would come from the sap of a coconut And basically with that one, it's just dehydrated coconut sap. So everything is still intact. All your nutrients are still intact. It's just that dehydrated coconut sap. And then you have your maple syrup, which is just pulled from your trees, your maple trees, and your honey as well, which would be from your honeycomb. There are a lot of confusing sweeteners out there now. Like there's a lot of different sugar alcohols. There's stevia, monk fruit. So a lot of people do like to look to the stevia monk fruit because it is a really good substitute for any type of sugar that would have a fluctuation on your blood sugar levels. Those sweeteners wouldn't have those effects, and they're a great source of a sweetener for that reason. The sugar alcohols like your erythritol and your xylitol, those are ones I don't tend to really go towards. A lot of people have been using those on the keto diet, so they don't have that influx of their blood sugar, and they can get into ketosis. A lot of people will use the stevia monk fruit on that as well. But I kind of steer away from the sugar alcohol just because they can cause a lot of digestive issues for a lot of people, cause irritation in the gut. It can also, depending on where it's sourced from, that may be a concern. A lot of times the sugar alcohols would be derived from corn, so that's just something to be mindful of. But stevia and monk fruit are two really good options if you're looking for something that's not going to have an influx on your blood sugar. I you just want to make sure you're getting a really good source stevia because it comes from a herb. So if you're getting pure stevia, that would be you want to make sure you're getting that, and then the monk fruit just comes from the monk fruit. It's an extraction from there. So those are two really good ones if you're looking to not have an influx on your blood sugar levels. But I really like working with your coconut sugar, the maple syrup, and the honey. They will have trace amounts of minerals, and they taste really lovely. They're handy here in Atlantic Canada, especially, or even Canada, the maple syrup and the honey. So those are easily available. And I like to use the coconut sugar because it's a good 1-to-1 ratio for that substitute for white refined sugar.
So there's the coconut sugar? I think I've mainly seen it brown. Do they sell it
Yeah,
white?
it's the brown sugar.
It's brown
Yeah,
sugar.
and that's just the natural color from the dehydration of the coconut sap. So that's completely natural. That's just the way it naturally looks.
Awesome. So you would recommend people use coconut sugar to exchange out white refined sugar?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. I know this is a tough question, but I like to ask every author.
Yeah.
So I usually ask, what is a favorite chapter? But for you, because it's
Hmm.
a cookbook, tell me your favorite recipe. And I know they're all like your children.
They
And
are.
all are put so much time and effort. What's the first one that comes to mind that you can share with us?
My favorite, I'm a big cookie fan, so cookies are my favorite. One of my favorites would probably be the chocolate molasses crunch cookies. They're really nice. They have your oats, there's molasses, there's cacao nibs. The recipe is written with dairy-free chocolate chips, but I like to eliminate it. And then there's walnuts in there as well, or pecans, I believe. And then it uses your maple syrup, and it makes this nice crispy edge with the softness as well. So it's really good. My husband's favorite would probably be the banana chocolate chip nut muffin. They are a lot of people's favorite. We just had them at the book launch on October 3rd, and they were a hit. A lot of people enjoyed those. And the team at Sequoia Trinity, where I work, they really enjoy them there too. So, depending on if you're a cookie lover or a muffin lover or a bread lover, sweet bread lover, there's a bit of everything in there for everyone. So, but the chocolate crunch molasses cookies are one of my favorite.
Awesome. I like
Yeah,
cookies. I like
I do. Yeah,
I like
they're the
healthy
best.
cookies. We have a really nice cookie recipe. It's so easy. It's like I can even make it.
Yeah.
I put banana. I mush up banana. I put peanut butter,
Mm.
and vanilla, a little bit of vanilla, and then
Yep.
peanut butter, banana,
Hmm.
vanilla. Is that it? Could that make a cookie?
It could.
I think that's
Yeah,
it.
it could.
And then I put it in the oven, and then I squish them with a fork, and that's it.
Nice.
I'm sure it's not as good as your recipes, but
Hey man, it
it's
sounds delicious.
it's like
Can't go wrong with banana and peanut butter.
right. It's like banana peanut butter. Like that's what I figure. I'm like, and it takes me like 10 minutes to mix up, and then
Yeah.
it bakes for like 10 minutes, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
but
Excellent.
we got Jane in here and Sue's in here hanging out. If you guys have any questions for Jessica now or after the show, you're welcome to ask her. We're talking about her new book. Jessica, tell us the book. It's called Some Sweet Treats, Some Good Sweet Treats.
Yes. Yeah. So, Some Good Sweet Treats is a whole food, gluten-free and dairy-free cookbook. So it has everything in there from your sweet breads. There's muffins, there's cookies, there's homemade chocolate recipes, frostings, uh, great variety in there. So depending on what you're looking for, you'll probably find something to suit your taste. Yeah, so it's all gluten free and dairy free. In the beginning of the cookbook, I actually have a little section in there talking about gluten free flours. I talk about dairy free alternatives. I also talk about other ingredients that I like to use. So things like nuts and seeds, raw cacao, cacao nibs, those type of things. So all whole food ingredients that you can include. They give you really good nutrition in a sweet treat form. Yeah, and I talk about different sweeteners as well, like we just discussed, Drew. So the maple syrup, the coconut sugar, and the honey. So there's a little bit information in there as well. And yeah, so everything, like I said, is gluten and dairy free. So really good if you have any allergens, or if you're just trying to make that switch in your diet. You'll find a lot of nice goodies in there, a lot of seasonal ones too. So there's pumpkin recipes in there, like I was talking about. You'll also find some great things for Christmas time as well, like your gingerbread, snowballs, those type of things. Yeah, so a great variety of different sweet treats.
Awesome. Thanks, Jessica. I appreciate that. So we did have a question come in, and Jen says, I thought molasses was bad for you. And I'm going to say, I think it's good for you. And
Mhm.
actually, maybe you could help. I think it was like black strap molasses was something that was
Mhm.
recommended. And then we were looking for Dorothy. We were looking for to increase her iron levels, and I think we were using molasses. But I'm fortunate to have an expert with us and a holistic nutritionist. So, how do you feel about that, Jessica?
Blackstrap molasses, definitely. I would go with that. There are products out there branded as molasses, but it doesn't. It's probably mostly a sugar combination. So you really got to make sure you're looking at the ingredients and make sure you're just getting the blackstrap molasses. Blackstrap molasses is actually really high in iron, so it's a great source if you're trying to increase your iron levels. Yeah, and it makes a really nice flavor on baked goodies. So it has that like bitterness. So a different type of sweet bitterness that you can include in your goodies. But blackstrap molasses, definitely a go-to sweetener that I'd recommend. You just want to make sure you're not getting those ones that might be combined with other sugars. That's not actually real molasses. So just read the ingredient labels and make sure you're getting a good quality one. There's one that I really like by Wholesome. They have a strap molasses, and it's a really good quality one. So I recommend checking them out, and that might be something you could incorporate in if you're missing your molasses.
So, what would some of the other ingredient or some of the other lower quality types of products, particularly molasses, they would like the ingredients would say five, two or three different types
Yeah,
of.
It might be combined with other ingredients, or it might be just the way it's processed. So it might not be 100% molasses. So you just might want to double check the ingredients, and it should just say blackstrap molasses, and that's it. If there's other things like cane sugar in there or any other type of ingredient that might be used to preserve it or anything like that, just be mindful. But blackstrap molasses, if you see that straight in the ingredients, that's what I would look for. And even going further, like looking into the company that you're buying from. So looking at their methods and their processing, that's another way to find out if you're getting a true good quality product. But I find Wholesome is a great company for sweeteners, and they get true real ingredients in their product instead of masking it with other ingredients. Yeah.
That's the cue for another question, Jen.
All right.
Jen,
Love
Jen,
it.
Jen says, "What are cacao nibs?"
Cacao nibs, so they are just broken up cacao, like the cacao bean. So just your cocoa bean. It's just crushed into little pieces. So they're very bitter. I actually have a recipe in the cookbook. They're these really thin cookies. They're sweet, but the cacao nib will actually bring a little bit of bitterness to it, so it evens out the sweetness. Yeah, they're quite lovely. They're crunchy. They're nice to make or add to like a cake if you want to decorate it. So good for that. Good to add to like oatmeal. You can add it to cookies or muffins as well. So very versatile and a great way to get some really good antioxidants in your diet as well.
I got to tell you, we were in Sri Lanka, and
Yeah.
we were like in the jungle, like literally in the jungle,
Oh
and
wow.
this little guy, we were with this, um, I want to say community. There was it was like 20 people with us because many of them haven't seen people from North America before. So they were
Yeah.
like following us around, and we saw this, what is it, the cacao fruit? Like,
Yes.
yeah, it was the cacao fruit growing from the tree. And this little guy climbs up the tree and he like kicks it down. This is like from something from a movie. He like climbs this tree and he's like kicking at this cacao fruit and it falls on the ground, and then he opens it up, and then like everyone was tasting it. And of course for them it wasn't a big deal, but for us it was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like I've only seen cacao in health food stores. And in this situation it was like, um, we actually had the opportunity to try it fresh before it was like altered or processed or anything at all.
Yeah. That's really cool. That must have been a fun experience.
Yeah, and you know what? It tasted a bit chocolatey,
Did
and
it?
it tasted, like, maybe actually this would be a good time. Why don't you explain the difference between cacao and cocoa powder? That's a good subject.
Yeah, definitely. So cacao is going to be not as processed. Usually, when cocoa is made, sorry, it's going to be heated at high temperatures through the process of making the final product, and that will damage a lot of the nutrients that can be found in the raw cacao. So raw cacao doesn't go through that high temperature processing and enables you to still have those nutrients intact. So like your magnesium and the antioxidants, those type of things, they're going to provide a great source of nutrients. So I highly recommend going with the raw cacao rather than cocoa.
Yeah, and then another good point is that, like, I suppose it depends what company you're with, but
Hmm.
like probably like Nestle Quick.
Yeah,
Like Nestle's a big giant company, but if you look
yeah,
at their cocoa, they chop it up and they would put sugar in there and they put milk products in there, and it would
yes.
actually be lighter in color.
Yes, yeah, yeah, there'll definitely be a difference. And that's another good point, Drew. The different ingredients that might be added to their product is something to watch out for too. So I always recommend just reading the ingredient label because that's when you're going to find out what's an actual real food product rather than something that's been highly processed.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Jessica, let's wrap things up. I want to let you carry on with your day. Tell us really quick here, where they can find your book, and then we'll let you get going.
Awesome. Yeah, so you can find it at Amazon. You'll find it at Chapters Indigo. You'll also find it at small retailers as well, depending on who's picked it up. So there's still been slow movement at distribution, just with everything happening in the world today. But you can certainly find it on Amazon if you're not able to get out to a store. So you can buy it online that way. Yeah, so that would probably be your best option if you're shopping online, but some small retailers in your area might be carrying it as well.
Your website, real quick.
Yes, so my website is jessicamint.com. You'll find lots of recipes that are gluten-free, dairy-free, and whole food based. You'll find information on my cookbook there as well. So if you just want to go check that out, that would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, and I share all kinds of articles regarding wellness as well as culinary adventures. All my travel is around food, so you'll find out recommended places that you can eat. Yeah, so lots of information there to check out at jessicamitten.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jessica. Appreciate your time and coming on and sharing with your new cookbook with us.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Drew, for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.